welcome back to another segment of Michigan Conservative Roundtable. Mr. Thirsty to my right, Mac to my left, the guy in the middle is TJ. Here's something, and I'm sure probably everyone's heard about by now. That horrible accident, I'll call it an accident because it certainly wasn't intentional, of Alec Baldwin shooting the camera woman and injuring the director. And I got to tell you, I first heard about it when I was listening to one of my country music stations, and I couldn't believe what I was hearing. And then I realized these people are being serious, and then I had to, as soon as I had a chance, I kind of had to do a little research, and it's like, yeah, this really did happen. My first thought was, what a complete breakdown of firearm safety. Just to include who was in charge of these weapons, and they do kind of say who was in charge of these weapons, but we're talking firearm safety 101.
The armorer on set was a 24-year-old woman, which she completely flubbed her job right there. Alec Baldwin was the executive producer that hired her, and she's had issues like this before on previous movie sets.
And yeah,
you have examples of that? I mean, what the movies were or what happened? Because I'm not aware.
No, there's just news reports of she has a bad history.
Right.
Okay, all right.
That's not really in dispute. But what I'm saying is, heck, any one of us could have been there and done a better job.
Yes.
I mean, my gosh. And all you got to do is watch your typical YouTube gun video, and they stress safety. I mean, there's they're doing a video and saying, well, they're showing you the chamber and everything. And and what I found interesting was Alec Baldwin. I guess one of the first things he said in his defense, they told me it was a cold gun. Well, if you or Mac gave me a gun and the chamber wasn't open, I might say, is it loaded? And you might say, hopefully you would say, no, it isn't. And you know what? Either I would ask you to open it up and show me, or first thing I would do is in a safe direction, look and make sure the thing was safe,
Well, being as proficient in firearms as I am, you never hand somebody a loaded gun. Period.
Well, you know what?
And if you do, you hand it with the chamber open so it shows that it's not loaded.
I'll even give her the benefit of the doubt and say maybe she thought it was unloaded, and this goes to the severity of her mistake.
Yeah.
I mean,
she didn't check.
Nobody checked.
Well,
nobody checked.
The messed up thing is rule number one, regardless whether it's a toy, a BB gun, paintball gun, real firearm, prop gun, you treat every firearm as if it's loaded.
And, and aside from the total collapse of firearm safety, I have to suspect there was not adequate training also. We're talking, this was a single action revolver, and I got to tell you,
Colt SAA.
And I was talking to Mac about this earlier. When you, even though that's an older type of revolver,
I have one.
That I wish it brought it, but it actually requires special training because you've got the swing gate on the right side, you got the plunger on the left side, you've got to half cock it to rotate the cylinder. I mean, and you know what? I suppose yes, you would have to go through the hassle of checking each and every cylinder, and then is it a blank or is it a live ammunition with a projectile?
Well, you'd have to ask the question: how much hassle is a life worth?
Well, yeah.
Well, I don't know if you guys had seen. Apparently, back in 2017, Alec Baldwin actually sent out a tweet that said, "I wonder what it would feel like to." I don't want to say accidentally, but causes a wrongful death.
Right.
Well, now he knows.
Yeah.
Well, there's also rumors. I don't want to spread rumors, but there's also rumors that the director of photography was also involved in a documentary about the supposed pedophilia ring in Hollywood. Mm-hmm. So,
well, you do have to wonder: did Baldwin, who I hear is not a nice guy, Did he get set up for this?
That's what I'm thinking.
That's always a
Honestly.
possibility. I don't know. I don't know that. I don't even want to go there. But there is one thing I want to address. On a lot of social media, of course, I go to a lot of right-leaning sites for that reason, because of what we do here. And I saw he murdered that woman. He didn't murder the woman. Murder is an intentional act. There's no evidence or even anyone suggesting that he shot and killed this woman for any reason.
Complete negligence, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Might he be? At worst, I think he might be guilty of negligent homicide, or I'm not sorry, involuntary manslaughter.
Correct.
So, but I don't even know that because I don't know all the particulars. But I do know this: I have no reason to believe that he murdered that woman. So stop throwing that word around. It's the same thing that got thrown around with other cases. So that, for instance, self-defense cases that may or may not be in the news right now. But no murder happened.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say something here. You know what? I'm not necessarily all for him being charged, and I would follow that up with saying I wouldn't be in favor of really anyone being charged. But the reality of it is, he's going to get a pass.
Oh, absolutely.
And if any of us did what he did,
absolutely,
we'd be crucified on the cross.
Yeah.
And that becomes my...
We'd be in some county jail without bail.
Oh yeah, and
in Michigan you would be.
And that's what really kind of sucks when you connect all the dots.
And let me say another thing about I loathe Alec Baldwin.
Yeah, I do too.
If he were on fire here, I don't even think I'd take time to piss on him. So don't think I'm any fan of this guy or I'm making excuses for him. But right is right and wrong is wrong. This wasn't a murder.
And something to keep in mind, not everyone is familiar with, because when the reports first came out, I was wondering, was it actual live ammunition with a projectile or a blank? Because people can still get seriously wounded and even killed with blank ammunition.
It's happened.
Brandon Lee died that way.
If you're close enough, if you understand how a firearm works with ammunition, blank or actual, if you don't have a blank adapter, or as they like to say, a Hollywood barrel, which has a built-in blank adapter.
Correct.
But even with these adapters, with or without the adapter, you have escaping gases 1 to 2 feet escaping beyond the barrel of the firearm, and to the point where, and this goes to when I first heard the news report, I wondered, well, if it was blank ammunition, what do you do? Hold it too close to somebody?
Right.
You know, that's what I was
Because
wondering.
you don't know it with the initial report.
Because you didn't know at the time, and then 24, 48 hours later, you start finding out, man, that thing had live ammunition in it. How did that happen?
Well,
it blows my mind.
You know, it's like Mac was saying. Yeah, I am not defending Alec one way or the other. You know, but everybody was like, well, why was he pointing it at her? Well, how else are you supposed to get a frontal shot? She was the.
It's a rehearsal. You're gonna enact what you're gonna do when the camera.
I'll tell you what. And this goes to training and firearm safety. If you're going to shoot it at the camera, Lord God Almighty, you gotta look and make sure. You gotta look. I mean.
Well, what I
this
find,
is why I just shook my head.
What I find kind of ironic too is Alec Baldwin is like one of the anti-gun. He despises gun, but yet he makes his money off movies with guns.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
he's clearly a hypocrite.
You know, dare I say, there could be a little poetic justice at play here also.
Well, karma is a biatch.
Yeah.
You know,
or as Max says, the barrel's round.
Yes, I like to say that.
Well, at the end of the day, regardless whether he was set up or it was intentional or he was paid off to do it, whatever the conspiracy theorists want to come out with next week on YouTube, at the end of the day, this man's going to have to live with that for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. And you know what? You talk about the worst way possible to learn or realize the necessity of firearm safety and training. I just got to think if there had been more safety and training, this would have never happened.
Absolutely.
Safety and training. I was in the
Even
Army.
with safety and training, I ended up with this from a miter saw. So even then, it can still happen.
Oh, absolutely. I guess I had fired off a round just trying to clear a jammed round. Luckily I took it outside and had it up in a safe direction. But no matter what, it can happen.
And one final thought too, since we're talking about firearms and ammunition, one of the worst things you could do to yourself as a shooter is to shoot actual ammunition with a projectile inside a firearm set up for blank ammunition.
Actually, I don't even think, because they keep saying prop gun. An actual prop gun will not even accept live ammunition.
Well, when I was in the Army, we'd put blank adapters on the end of our M16s.
Yeah.
And they always do because if you put real ammunition into that firearm, once it's equipped with that blank adapter, you're gonna get killed because it's gonna blow up in your face.
I mean, there should have been no reason that live ammunition was even on set. I guess the ATF said they found over 500 rounds.
I heard they were target shooting.
Yeah, they were using it for recreational on their time off.
Which tells you, if that was common knowledge, they already knew that was a real gun that could fire actual ammunition. All the more reason for safety.
As an armorer, because like even when you do gunsmithing, you have your snap caps, which are just dummy rounds, and anytime you're doing work on a firearm, you never have live ammunition in your workshop so you don't make that mistake of mixing them up.
It's a horrible accident, and I do have sympathy for all the parties involved there. Just what a horrible way to learn a lesson is all I can say.
Absolutely.
And so that's all I got, guys. Anything else? All right. Kind of ran long here, so if you hung tough, thanks. And we'll see you in the next one. As always, be safe, watch your six, and don't tread on me.